What if I told you that one of the world's biggest airplanes came just seconds away from disaster during what should have been a routine landing? Imagine a giant Boeing 747, weighing hundreds of tons, racing toward the runway at high speed. The wheels touch the ground, but something doesn't feel right. Thick clouds of smoke suddenly burst from the landing gear, the aircraft bounces violently, and for a terrifying moment, it looks like the pilot might lose control. Was this the beginning of a catastrophic crash, or could experience, skill, and quick decision-making save one of aviation's most iconic aircraft? Stay with us until the end, because what happened next surprised even experienced aviation experts. The Boeing 747 has earned the nickname Queen of the Skies for a reason. Since its introduction, it has carried millions of passengers and transported massive amounts of cargo across the world. Even today, despite many airlines retiring passenger versions, the cargo variant continues to play a vital role in global transportation. Companies like Atlas Air rely on the Boeing 747 because of its incredible carrying capacity and long-range performance. Looking at the aircraft from the outside, it appears almost unstoppable. Its enormous wings stretch across the runway, its four powerful engines generate incredible thrust, and its unmistakable hump-shaped upper deck makes it one of the most recognizable airplanes ever built. But no matter how advanced an aircraft is, landing remains one of the most challenging phases of any flight. Every landing begins long before the airplane reaches the airport. Pilots carefully calculate speed, weight, weather conditions, runway length, wind direction, and braking performance. Even a small error can make a huge difference when an aircraft weighing hundreds of tons touches the ground at more than 150 miles per hour. On this particular flight, everything initially appeared normal. The crew communicated with air traffic control, completed their landing checklist, lowered the landing gear, and extended the flaps. The massive Boeing 747 lined up perfectly with the runway centerline. From the control tower, everything looked routine. Passengers, or in the case of a cargo flight, the valuable cargo inside, had no idea that the next few seconds would become the most critical moment of the entire journey. As the aircraft descended lower, the pilots continuously adjusted the controls. Tiny movements of the control column corrected the airplane's position while the engines responded instantly to throttle changes. This delicate balance between speed, altitude, and descent rate is something pilots practice for years before commanding an aircraft of this size. Then came the moment every pilot prepares for. The runway rushed beneath the nose. The landing gear was only a few feet above the pavement. The captain gently raised the nose during the flare. For a split second, everything looked perfect. Then, the unexpected happened. Instead of making a smooth touchdown, the aircraft struck the runway harder than expected. The enormous landing gear compressed under the tremendous force. Thick white smoke exploded from the tires as rubber met asphalt at incredible speed. From the outside, the landing looked dramatic. Airport observers immediately focused their cameras on the aircraft. The Boeing 747 bounced slightly before settling back onto the runway. Inside the cockpit, however, every second mattered. The captain immediately checked the aircraft's attitude while the first officer monitored airspeed and engine performance. Modern aircraft provide constant information through sophisticated instruments, but pilots must still make rapid decisions using both training and experience. A heavy landing can happen for many reasons. Strong crosswinds can suddenly push an aircraft sideways. Wind shear can rapidly change airspeed. Turbulence can disrupt the final approach. Even small timing errors during the flare can produce a harder than normal touchdown. Because the Boeing 747 is so large, even a small vertical movement can create tremendous impact forces when the wheels contact the runway. Fortunately, Boeing designed the landing gear to absorb enormous loads. Each landing gear assembly contains advanced shock absorbers that compress during touchdown, protecting both the aircraft structure and its cargo. But the landing gear alone cannot guarantee a safe landing. The pilots must immediately maintain directional control. As soon as the wheels touched down, the captain deployed the spoilers. Large panels on top of the wings suddenly rose into the air. These spoilers destroyed lift, forcing the airplane firmly onto the runway. Almost instantly, reverse thrust roared to life. The four engines redirected airflow forward, helping slow the enormous aircraft. the sound echoed across the airport. People watching from observation areas could hear the deep thunder of the engines as clouds of tire smoke slowly drifted behind the airplane. Despite the dramatic appearance, tire smoke during landing is often completely normal. When aircraft tires first touch the runway, they go from zero rotation to more than 150 miles per hour almost instantly. That sudden acceleration creates friction, producing the familiar burst of smoke seen in many landing videos. However, sometimes excessive smoke can indicate a much harder touchdown than expected. That's why experienced pilots always monitor the aircraft's behavior carefully during rollout. On this landing, the crew remained calm. No panic. No rushed movements. Every action followed years of professional training. The captain kept both hands firmly on the controls while carefully steering the giant aircraft along the centerline. Even with advanced automation, the final rollout requires constant attention. A crosswind can still push the airplane sideways. Uneven braking can create directional changes. Runway contamination from water or rubber deposits can reduce traction. Every landing is different. Every second demands concentration. As the aircraft continued down the runway, airport emergency crews quietly observed from standby positions. This is standard procedure at many airports whenever an unusually hard landing is reported or suspected. Firefighters remained ready. Rescue vehicles stayed alert. Thankfully, there were no signs of fire. No visible structural damage. The aircraft continued slowing under full control. Yet many viewers watching the landing video online believe they had witnessed a near disaster. Comments flooded social media. Some claimed the landing gear had almost collapsed. Others believed the airplane would slide off the runway. A few even suggested the aircraft should never fly again. But were those assumptions actually true? Not necessarily. Professional pilots often explain that dramatic-looking landings can still remain well within the aircraft's certified structural limits. Modern Boeing aircraft undergo incredibly demanding testing before entering service. Engineers repeatedly drop full-scale landing gear assemblies from significant heights to simulate extreme touchdowns. The aircraft is designed with large safety margins. Still, every unusually hard landing must be inspected carefully after arrival. Maintenance engineers examine the landing gear. They inspect the tires. They check the shock absorbers. They review flight recorder data. Even if no visible damage exists, electronic systems record the forces experienced during touchdown. These inspections help ensure every future flight remains completely safe. Meanwhile, the Atlas Air Boeing 747 slowly taxied toward the cargo apron. From the outside, the aircraft appeared perfectly normal. But behind the scenes, aviation professionals were already beginning detailed evaluations to determine exactly how hard the landing had been. As maintenance crews approached the Boeing 747, the pilots completed their shutdown checklist with the same discipline they had shown throughout the flight. From the cockpit, the landing had certainly felt firm, but experience had taught them not to jump to conclusions. Aviation is built on facts, not assumptions. Every unusual landing is analyzed carefully, and every detail matters. The aircraft finally came to a complete stop on the cargo apron. Ground personnel connected the external power unit while engineers prepared for an initial walk-around inspection. Their first task was simple but critical: look for any obvious signs of damage. The tires were examined carefully. The landing gear struts were checked for hydraulic leaks. The wheel assemblies were inspected for unusual wear. The wings and engines showed no visible damage. From the outside, everything appeared normal. Inside the cockpit, the flight crew began recording the details of the landing in the aircraft logbook. This is standard procedure whenever a landing feels harder than usual. Even if there is no visible damage, documenting the event allows maintenance technicians to carry out the proper inspections before the aircraft is cleared for another flight. Many people assume pilots are embarrassed by a hard landing. In reality, professional pilots understand that safety always comes first. Sometimes weather conditions demand a firmer touchdown. A smooth landing may look impressive, but under certain conditions it can actually be less safe than a positive, controlled touchdown. For example, during strong crosswinds, pilots intentionally land firmly to ensure the wheels make solid contact with the runway. This allows the brakes and spoilers to work immediately, giving the crew maximum control over the aircraft. The Boeing 747 is particularly sensitive to landing technique because of its enormous size. Its wings produce tremendous lift. Its landing gear supports incredible weight. Its momentum during landing is far greater than that of smaller aircraft. Managing all of these factors requires years of experience. Atlas Air pilots undergo extensive simulator training where they practice every imaginable emergency. Engine failures, hydraulic problems, crosswind landings, rejected takeoffs, wind shear encounters, heavy rain, low visibility. Every scenario is repeated until the correct response becomes second nature. This training is one of the biggest reasons why aviation remains one of the safest forms of transportation in the world. After completing the initial inspection, maintenance engineers connected specialized diagnostic equipment to the aircraft. Modern Boeing aircraft continuously record thousands of parameters during every flight. The flight data recorder captures information dozens of times every second. Touchdown rate, vertical acceleration, wheel speed, brake pressure, engine performance, control surface positions. All of this data helps engineers determine exactly what happened during landing. Unlike dramatic internet videos, the data tells the real story. The engineers reviewed the recorded landing forces. The numbers confirmed that although the touchdown was firm, it remained within the aircraft's certified operating limits. No structural damage had been detected. No landing gear components required replacement. The aircraft would undergo a routine inspection before returning to service. For aviation professionals, this was excellent news. For online viewers, however, the dramatic tire smoke continued to fuel speculation. Millions of people have watched similar landing videos online. Some describe them as crashes that never happened. Others believe the airplane was only seconds away from disaster. But experienced pilots often explain that appearances can be misleading. Camera angles can exaggerate motion. Long zoom lenses compress distance. Tire smoke always looks more dramatic on video than it does in person. A perfectly safe landing can appear frightening when viewed from a certain angle. This particular Atlas Air Boeing 747 demonstrated exactly why aircraft are engineered with enormous safety margins. Every major component is designed to withstand forces far beyond those experienced during normal operations. Before entering service, Boeing subjects its aircraft to years of structural testing. Landing gear assemblies are repeatedly dropped under controlled conditions. The wings are bent until they flex far beyond what they would ever experience in flight. Brakes are tested under maximum loads. Engines undergo thousands of hours of continuous operation. Nothing is left to chance. Even the tires are specially designed. Aircraft tires may look ordinary, but they are engineering masterpieces. They carry enormous weight. They accelerate instantly from zero to landing speed. They withstand extreme temperatures. They resist incredible pressure. Despite the clouds of smoke seen during touchdown, those tires are built specifically for moments like this. As the evening sun began to set over the airport, the Atlas Air Boeing 747 stood quietly on the apron. Hours earlier, it had attracted the attention of aviation enthusiasts around the world. Now it simply waited for its next mission. Cargo would soon be loaded. Fuel trucks would arrive. Ground crews would prepare another flight. And before long, the Queen of the Skies would once again climb into the sky, carrying valuable cargo across continents. Moments like these remind us that aviation is a balance between technology and human skill. No machine flies itself without careful planning. No successful landing happens by accident. Behind every safe flight are engineers who design stronger aircraft, mechanics who inspect every critical component, air traffic controllers who guide aircraft safely through busy skies, and pilots who spend thousands of hours mastering their profession. The dramatic landing may have looked frightening, but it also highlighted something extraordinary. The aircraft performed exactly as it was designed. The safety systems worked. The landing gear absorbed the impact. The spoilers reduced lift. The reverse thrust slowed the airplane. The brakes brought hundreds of tons of moving aircraft under complete control. Most importantly, the crew remained calm from beginning to end. That professionalism made all the difference. Videos like this often go viral because people naturally focus on the smoke, the noise, and the dramatic visuals. But aviation experts see something else. They see a highly trained crew managing a challenging situation. They see a remarkably strong aircraft operating within its design limits. They see decades of engineering and training working together exactly as intended. And perhaps that is the most impressive part of the story. Not that the landing looked dramatic, but that everyone involved knew exactly what to do. The next time you watch a Boeing 747 touchdown with a burst of tire smoke, remember that what appears frightening may actually be a normal part of operating one of the world's largest and most capable aircraft. The Queen of the Skies has earned its legendary reputation over decades of reliable service, and every successful landing, whether smooth or firm, is another reminder of the incredible teamwork, engineering, and professionalism that keep global aviation moving safely every single day. If you enjoyed this aviation story and want to see more incredible Boeing 747 landings, giant aircraft operations, and amazing X-Plane 11 aviation content, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss our next upload. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next flight.